Hi, I'm Jen from Tea Leaves and Tweed, and here I talk about all things tea. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, be sure to subscribe to follow more of what I do. This morning, I'm having another semi-literary tea session, and we're having tea with a very unusual ghost. So recently, I discovered the series Over the Garden Wall, and one of my favorite episodes is the 5th episode. And of course, I will stop here and say there are spoilers for the 5th episode of Over the Garden Wall. So if you haven't watched it, you may want to go and watch it right now. They're very short. Anyway, in the 5th episode, our heroes encounter eccentric, wealthy tea merchant Quincy Endicott, who believes his mansion is haunted by the ghost of a beautiful woman. And they eventually discover that it is not haunted, but it is in fact adjoining the mansion of wealthy tea merchant Lady Marguerite Grey. And I found it so amusing that they chose to name their female tea merchant Lady Marguerite Grey, or Lady Grey. So today I'm going to have a tea session for Lady Grey. And of course, if we're having tea with Lady Grey, we must be having Lady Grey tea. Lady Grey tea is a mix of Earl Grey tea, which is black tea scented with bergamot, and added orange and lemon peel to kind of soften and mellow out the tea a little bit. It was actually developed by the Twinings Company in the 1990s for the Scandinavian market. But here I'm making my own Lady Grey blend. This is my absolute favorite rare Earl Grey from the Rare Tea Company and some dried orange and lemon peel. I'm going to put them in this little perfect 1-cup teapot, and then we can just pour some boiling water over our tea and let that steep for a few minutes. And of course the sun is starting to come out. It's very chilly this morning. A perfect morning to have a nice warm cup of tea inspired by what I think is rather a quintessential autumn piece of television. The series Over the Garden Wall is so interesting because they blend in all of this nostalgia. And in particular, the thing I find particularly amusing about this 5th episode, Mad Love, is that the two mansions that are adjoined, it's kind of discovered that this is actually two adjoining mansions because the two mansions are built and decorated in different styles. One is decorated in the Georgian style, the other in the French Baroque style. And they almost make it seem like they're separated in time. So Quincy Endicott thinks that this apparition is a ghost because she's dressed in old-fashioned clothing. However, Georgian England and the French Baroque period's heyday were actually concurrent for a lot of it. So I found that particularly cute. And at the same time, I think that Quincy Endicott's style of dress is shown as more of a late Georgian or early Regency style, whereas Lady Grey is very much in that traditional Baroque French court dress style with the big Marie Antoinette hair. And it's just so interesting stylistically. And at the same time, they bring in a lot of mid-century Americana in other episodes, and one of the characters is even shown in a very classic Regency Empire waist dress in one episode. And I just find the whole show has this beautiful vintage historical feel and kind of is like the ultimate history bounding show. And it adds to this eerie atmosphere of the show where you know that there isn't something quite right, that all of these little incongruities and inconsistencies and your inability to place it in time just gives you this sense that something isn't quite right with the setting of the show. And I found that such an interesting artistic and beautiful way to kind of foreshadow the ending of the series. So now we do have a train in the background, but our tea has been steeping for long enough. So let's pour the tea. Bergamot, oh, the bergamot aroma in this rare Earl Grey is so amazing. They use a really fine bergamot oil that I believe is mostly created for the perfuming industry. But you also get that little extra from the orange and lemon peel. I find that using the orange peel almost gives it an additional bitterness, but a different kind of bitterness. And I think this actually also calls to Lady Grey, who is supposed to be a tea sommelier. And one of the things that I've learned as I've been tasting more and more teas is that it's not just about 5 flavors, it's about different kinds of flavors. When you say that something is it bitter like hops? Is it bitter like coffee? Is it bitter like a citrus peel or like an orange peel or a grapefruit peel or a lemon peel? Or is it bitter like earwax? And the idea of taking something that has a natural bitter note to it like tea and then adding something else that has a different bitter note to it just creates this beautifully complex tea that I think is a wonderful homage to Lady Marguerite Grey. So I am going to go and enjoy my cup of tea, hopefully without any ghosts, imagined or otherwise. I hope you enjoyed this semi-literary tea session inspired by Lady Marguerite Grey from Over the Garden Wall. And as always, I encourage you to comment and suggest new topics, new literary characters, perhaps suggest a historical tea session. And I look forward to seeing you again sometime. Bye.